It is my pleasure to present the Society's highest honor, the Weld Coxe Marketing Achievement Award. This award recognizes and showcases a remarkable marketing or business development professional whose career achievements, leadership roles, and lasting contribution to AEC are exemplary. This year's recipient of the Weld Coxe Marketing Achievement Award is, this will all make sense in about 2 words, Frank Lippert. And I now can't look at him. Frank joins a distinguished group of accomplished members who embody the mission and spirit of SMPS and who are valued advisors to the organization. He is the 34th recipient of the award, named in honor of marketing pioneer, SMPS founder, and past honoree Weld Coxe. As founder and partner of Go Strategies, he provides strategic pursuit planning, strategic market capture planning, and functional seller-doer training to clients throughout the U.S. He has worked at small, medium, large, and mega-sized engineering companies in his 30 years in the AEC industry. I've witnessed firsthand how Frank's infectious energy, humor, and storytelling makes learning about marketing and business development fun, engaging, actionable, and memorable. Within the Society, Frank has held several leadership positions at the chapter and headquarter levels, most importantly serving both as SMPS Foundation President and Society Board President. A large part of Frank's contribution has been through mentoring, whether formally or informally. He has been a part of mentoring programs for both SMPS Oregon and SMPS Sacramento, and is currently engaged in SMPS San Francisco's mentoring program. He is also a thought leader and presenter to peer organizations such as ACEC, AIA, SAMI, and AGC, largely to emerging professionals. This involvement allows him to share his experiences directly and help shape the next generation of technical professionals. I am honored to present the 2024 Weld Coxe Marketing Achievement Award to my colleague and friend, Frank Lippert. Weld Coxe was a pioneer and legend in our profession. He created our profession, really, and wrote one of the first books on professional services marketing. You and I have discussed that most recipients don't start their careers or plan with this recognition in mind. What does it mean to you to receive the Weld Coxe Marketing Achievement Award?
Wow, as usual, Donna changed up the questions a little bit, so I'm just going to put these notes away. And thank you for the spotlights, because I can't see any of your faces, and I would be weeping like a crazy person.
I'll do enough of that for both of us, thank you.
Getting the award, so last year we had the 50th anniversary, and I hope for those of you that were there, walked through the little museum of SMPS. And I saw this beautiful book that Weld had written, and then I got a copy of it myself online, and I read the book, and it was amazing how much has changed and how much hasn't. And I think the most poignant piece was his chapter on interviews, where it begins with the sentence, "Interviews are about chemistry, period." Right? That hasn't changed. Like, that's 1972. I was 5. Like, it's a long time ago. So I might have been a little older than 5.
I'm not saying a word.
I think that the award means that you're walking in those footsteps, right? All of us have walked those same paths. Janky, we've all done that 3:30. It sucked for every single one of us, right? And then to finally do that, but to be in this community of people and be surrounded by folks who really understand that, that's amazing. right? That's what the award means to me. It means all of you that have done all the things all the time.
You know, when we started in this profession, we were both 12. Let's just get that out there. Marketing and business development were so different. The tools, the processes, the resources available. How have you seen things shift? And how have you adapted over time? And you mentioned from Weld's book about the interviews, about some things staying constant. What other things have you noticed have stayed constant?
Yeah, so it's funny. I had answers written down, and I've even have a speech written that I really am not even sure I want to say, because that panel that sat up here reflected what's changed in our industry. Number one, the diversity of that panel. Thank you, God, the diversity of that panel. But also the strength of that panel, and I think that's the strength of all of us as marketers. Yeah, we still have to go back and do the grind, and we can't go back and say, hey, I'm the unicorn, I'm not gonna do the 3:30 tomorrow. No, we can't. Reality is reality. But the fact is that we are so much stronger as a profession. We are so much stronger as individuals and where we're at. I think that's the big thing that's changed over the years, and that's the big thing that a lot of us have worked really hard to make that change happen, right? The reason I invest a lot of time with emerging professionals in ACEC or AGC or whatever acronym you want to throw out there is because that's the generation that wants us. There are people coming into the organizations and to all of our companies today that want us. They want us. They need us. They know what we do, and they want to work with us. It wasn't always like that.
Yeah, exactly. You know, as practitioners working in firms, we've been competitors. There were times we looked at each other and said, you know, we can't talk about that. And now as consultants, we've had to grow and change throughout our career. I mean, come on, you started as a land surveyor? Really? That's a great story. If you've not heard it, and you may tell it later, so I'll not spoil the surprise. What do you believe one needs to survive and thrive in this wild and wacky world of AEC marketing and business development?
Alcohol. I'm kidding.
And a sense of humor. Yeah.
A sense of humor for sure, right? Don't lose a sense of humor. Because there are plenty of times, Allison, where we sit in that room and the other professional is losing their shit, and we have to kind of hold it together. I think what's really important is that we really keep coming back at it, right? We give it the space, we give it the grace, Pearl Grace. We give it that ability to let it mellow for a minute or two and then come back at it. But you know what? That's the thing that we do. That's the key thing we should all keep in mind, is that we come back at it. We come back at it again and again and again. And sooner or later, we tear down that mountain, or we find that special place for us. And that's the secret.
Yeah. And
don't give up.
Also, and I will add to that a little bit, because Frank knows a little bit of my journey. I have imposter syndrome,
bit.
like y'all would not believe. But it's that idea of, I wish I had figured out earlier, I am enough. I mean, Damien said it this morning. While there are things that I've learned and developed over the years, it's also that I am enough, and not taking things that I saw as setbacks personally, that it was a vindication. It was a vindication of me and who I was, not necessarily the place I was at that point in time. So again, kind of giving ourselves that grace to know and know our own value. And that's one of the things that excited me so much about the panel this morning.
And this is why I'm breathing through my mouth. When Donna Corlew has to say she is enough, come on.
No, y'all.
Donna Corlew,
no.
You are enough.
No. Oh yeah, there will be some people that go, this is enough, be done. So you know, just like you and me many moons ago, I'm sure there's someone in today's audience that will receive this award in the future. I mean, I know in 2019, when I was in that chair, I sat in Chicago in 1987. That was my first SMPS national conference. when Diane Creel was awarded the inaugural Weld Coxe. Well, it wasn't Weld Coxe at that point in time.
Because he was still alive.
Marketing Achievement Award. Never in my wildest dreams did that thought ever cross my mind until some people kind of said, oh yeah, you can, and you are, and you will. So you all are out there. So what do you think those who receive Weld Coxe have in common?
Yeah, we are tireless volunteers, all of us, right? Pearl Grace, can I get an amen? We are tireless volunteers. We get up every day and we think about this stuff. We think about how to help everybody, how to constantly help others' lights shine. That's just a commonality of every single winner that I've ever met. I think we're all super compassionate and empathetic. We've all sat in the same seats. We've all had that boss, that grumpy old man almost always, and we've put up with it, right? But I think what came out of it is a certain degree of wisdom that's just a little bit different, right? It's a little bit more hands-on learned. It's a kind of wisdom that comes with maybe a couple of black eyes and a bloody nose. It might also come with, you know, finally getting to the top of the mountain with your friends and your colleagues. Like, this doesn't happen alone. So if you're out there and you think, someday that could be me, it can be you. It absolutely can be you. This is not an insurmountable mountain at all. Grab your friends. Stick with that community, the community that Maisha talked about. Like, grab those folks. They are your Sherpas. You're their Sherpas. You get to the top of that mountain together, and that's really where it all happens.
Very much so. I would agree with that. So we could sit here and chat all day. There are sessions to get to, I know. So just again, thank you for this time to sit here and chat. Congratulations again. I have to say, this was not the original plan. Craig Galati, who was last year's recipient, was supposed to be in this chair, and Craig was unable to join us at the last minute. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to sit here and have this conversation with you. Before we close, would you like to share a few words?
Of course. Thank you. Donna, you are one of the most important human beings in my life. I'm grateful to know you and Clay the way I do. So thank you so much. I've only got a few minutes, so I won't bore you with a bunch of old people reminiscing, because you don't need to hear old people stuff. There's a laundry list of people that should be up on the screen any minute now, so you don't see my giant head, that helped me get here to this stage. And I'm so grateful and want to say thank you to each and every one of them. Those people, they poured their heart and soul into the submission in my career. So there's a few remarkable people that I really want to give a shout out to, though. The first is Casey DeLucia. So those of you who know the Oregon chapter, you know that today, Casey DeLucia is sort of the grande dame of SMPS. A zillion years ago, we met. Casey was working at the sign-in desk at my first ever SMPS meeting. And I was a terrified young man walking into a field of women thinking, what the hell am I doing? I'm a surveyor. And then later, a very short time later, I became Casey's president-elect for the great SMPS Oregon chapter. But beyond that, we went to each other's weddings. We were there for each other in some really, really tough times. And we're there together today. So Casey is like a sister. Thank you, Casey. Thank you, SMPS Oregon. And then there was Carolyn Ferguson. Carolyn Ferguson, who locked arms with me early on, at a time not unlike where the society is today, where we knew some things had to change society-wide. And we moved some mountains. Some of those are mentioned in my Weld Coxe submission, some are mentioned in hers, some we ain't even gonna talk about anymore. Carolyn gave me the wings when I didn't even know I had wings. So thank you, Carolyn. And then there is my amazing SMPS Sacramento crew. They welcomed me with open arms 10 years ago. Catherine Ness, my business partner, leading the way. It's an incredible group of people. The 50 pages of my Weld Coxe marketing submittal, and yes, you got to write 50 pages about yourself. Holly and I are going to work on that. Is due in large part to some really crazy cat herding of all these people by Leslie Kokors and Chris Tejada. The chapter considers me a part of their past president's council. I was never a president there, but they still bring me in like that, and that's amazing. Chris, Leslie, Catherine, all the rest of you back there, Lori, thank you so much. Last, and by not any measure, whatsoever, is my SMPS wife, Myrna Wagner. Okay, so you guys, so I was that guy that walked into the President's Leadership Symposium last. And of course, I picked the squeakiest door to open. And 50 faces turn around and look at me to see who's that guy. And yeah, I was kind of freaked out. I wanted to just run the hell out of there. But then this beautiful woman patted, breathe through your mouth, Frank, patted the empty seat next to her and gave me this beautiful smile. And I sat down next to Myrna. Call it kismet or fate or whatever. But I met my soulmate. Before the 3 days were over, we cried, we laughed, we hugged one another like family. We've been there for each other through thick and thin, through awesome and shitty, like really shitty. And we'll be there together for the rest of our lives. Thank you, Myrna. I love you. Okay, before they yank me off stage, there's a few things I want you to understand. I mean, really understand. Throughout my career, I've built relationships that are far more than transactional relationships. Think about it. In the work we do, we're all here for work. Our business is to build relationships, and those relationships result in work. Those are transactional relationships. But the kind of relationships and they're the kind of relationships that get us on teams. Man, I should not have had the teleprompter because I'm messing myself up. The kind of relationships that get us on teams, they make us look really good to our firms, and they're the kind of relationships that make us invaluable in the process of winning work. But I'm here to tell you right now, there's a hell of a lot more to it than business. In the spirit of SMPS, we build lasting friendships, enduring friendships. Friendships that will result in way more than business. For me, that meant things like staying at Paula Ryan's house in Columbus and drinking wine on her balcony with Courtney Van Ostren. It means Holly Bolton playing her guitar for the first song at my wedding. It means laughing with Carla Thompson and Bill Strong in Palm Springs. And yeah, you know what? It's also meant winning a lot of work, building beautiful client relationships, and getting here to this stage. I never thought I'd be giving this speech. Honestly, I just cared. I still care. I just did what I thought was right. I did what my friends needed me to do. And together, we got here. So please, look at your SMPS relationships in a little different light. Those people around you, your CLS buddies, the volunteers that go the extra mile, that new member at the registration desk, those are golden relationships. Treasure those. Invest a little more into them. And yes, landing the coveted spot on the winning team is awesome when your relationship gets you there. But honestly, being able to be there for your SMPS wife the afternoon that she loses her amazing real-life husband after 40 years, my friends, that's a whole different thing. So make those deeper relationships, please. Okay, this is getting super sappy. I says it in the notes, and it is. So let's end this. My last thank you is to two guys who have been supportive of me on the home front from the beginning. Jay Knorr was a partner in my life for a really long time, and through the hard early work when I could have walked away from SMPS so easily, but I didn't, so thank you, Jay. And today, my husband, Brian, does the same thing and so much more. He's endured the once-over up and down from SMPS members before we were allowed to be married. And he's gone through the circuit. He has surpassed all expectations of what you want in the love of your life. He's attended every national conference since we met, and he's given me more advice, counsel, and love than I could have ever hoped for. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Brian. All right, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, SMPS staff. Thank you, Tina Myers, for being there for me in ways I can never imagine. Thank you, volunteer leaders, for members. It's a great journey, and I encourage each and every one of you to take it. Thank you so much.